welcome. It's good to have you here.
Aboard.
This is the For the Shirt podcast. And I've been thinking, we never tell people to like and subscribe and shit. I feel like that's something just that people do. So if you guys listen to this podcast, all the millions of you out there, give us a shout out. Post us on your Twitter. Follow us on TikTok and repost our videos. Spread the word of For the Shirt because we love you and you love us.
We're
Give us a rating.
active owners of these accounts.
Mm-hmm.
We will interact with you.
I waste 95% of my time on Twitter. Probably 50% of my time on Twitter, on the For the Shirt Twitter, and then the other 50% on just looking at the numbers or TikToks too, trying to think of ways that I can make them better. I need to start doing like reaction, like stitches. There's a few I've sent myself that I need to do, but haven't gone around to it yet. Because I don't really know. There's this one guy. Oh my goodness, dude! I was literally crying watching him. You know how like over in like England and shit, like they'll go and interview like fans outside of like the Arsenal stadium or something like that, like the Emirates.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, would you rather have, Ben White or, Kyle Walker? And then they just go through position by position. This dude, it was literally like that. He was asking an Arsenal fan, he was like, would you rather have, Phil Foden or Odegaard? And I was like, I mean, Phil Foden, Odegaard's great, don't get me wrong, but it's fucking Phil Foden. He said that he definitely, I don't even think they asked him about a striker because Arsenal does not have an existing striker. But
They got Kyle Havertz.
He just, dude, yeah, but Havertz technically he's a winger. They just playing him up front because it's that or Gabriel Jesus, and who the fuck wants to start Gabriel Jesus up top? You know what I mean?
Is he hurt too? I feel like Jesus got hurt, right?
I honestly don't know. Jarvis? But yeah, he literally picked,
Yep.
I think.
Yep, groin injury.
Hurt his dick. Did fall off?
I think his dick did indeed fall off, yes.
His dick fell
off. He's played 5 minutes all season so far.
I thought I saw a clip of him playing one time, but it was probably just at the end. I mean, he might actually play once he's not injured anymore, but Kai Havertz is doing fine there, so I don't see why they would need him to come back anytime soon. What else was I gonna say? There's a point to that story, and I can't remember what it was. So let's just get into it. So no Premier League action happening this weekend, right? Everybody's off on international duty. Rather boring because the United States sucks. So who cares about their international duties? But
they've been carrying lots of strong. There's been plenty of strong lineups though across all the games going on. Like you're seeing a lot of the big name players still getting out there and getting a run, even though we're in the middle of the season, which I think is something that's like pretty cool about footy. There's not a lot of sports that are like that just kind of pause everything middle of the year and just have these international friendlies or UEFA Nations League games, stuff like that. And you get to see all these players playing for their country. Like, I wish that they did more stuff like that for like different leagues, like basketball.
So, are you saying that you enjoy the international breaks?
I think it's cool to see the international players, but I don't enjoy the games not being on. It's like the most agonizing week for no reason. Like you're just sitting there waiting for games to be back on.
It's so boring, dude. Do you watch the international games?
I mean, it kind of matters.
Sometimes.
Like when they're on like Saturdays and Sundays, obviously, like I'm consumed right now by all the NFL and college football on. So it's not like I'm totally checking in, but I'll see a lot of the accounts I follow on X. I see like a decent amount of highlights. There was one pass.
Please never call it X ever again. It's not X.
I know it's hard. I try not to, but Trent Alexander-Arnold had a pass yesterday, I think it was, in their game. It was like perfect bead, like perfectly weighted. I think it was Anthony Gordon, possibly, if he started yesterday. Whoever was on their wing ended up receiving it. But it had to have been Anthony Gordon. Well, it was like perfectly weighted pass, and all the stuff was like Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best passer in world football, and I was like, that's
Hey,
his
give me
best
a little
trait.
bit of that dum-dum juice. Give me a
I,
little bit of that dum-dum juice. You know what I'm saying?
I'll drink that Kool-Aid that he's the best passer in world football, but he
I mean,
also
he's
is
a great passer. That's probably one of the best parts
the
of
most
his
questionable
game.
defending right back of his entire the
You
entire
know,
Premier League, possibly.
that's why he needs to move to the midfield. It's because he defends like a stray cat. I don't know why. Like, where would you put him? I
It's
guess
so
that's
hard
probably the
because
biggest
you
issue,
can't
right?
put him you can't put him at CDM. Like
Why
that
not?
position, the
You guys
position
literally
that
need a CDM
Gravenberch
more
is
than anything
playing,
right now.
the position that Gravenberch is playing right now, he's almost making himself his own position. Like the amount of carrying that he's doing in that 6 role is changing, I think. I mean, obviously it's hard to say changing when we haven't really seen slot systems, so maybe this is just a staple of slot system, but in general, like that 6 and is always that deep line playmaker is where you saw so much. Like, you saw Fabinho when he was playing for Liverpool, or Fabinho. I always mix it
Fabrizio.
up on how it is. You know who I'm talking about? Big bald guy,
Yeah,
number
I know.
3, tall
I
motherfucker.
can
Yeah,
picture his face.
I can't remember. I mean, I know him, but I just don't know which way his name was at this moment. I'm sitting here trying to remember. I think it's Fabinho. But his position was always like, you know, deep defender, but then make that long pass downfield, kind of, spread it out. Gravenberch is literally just slicing through the middle of defenses. Like, it
Yeah,
is
he's a really
the
strong
amount of
season
carry
for
up the
maybe
field that
it's
you're
6
seeing with
games.
him.
Yeah.
It makes it so I don't know exactly if Trent can track back when he does that, and I think Gravenberch is like he's probably the best presser out of our 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can't
True.
really move Trent up, expecting him to press, stay back, and also carry. It's asking a lot for him. I think he could do a
It
job in
sounds
it.
like Gravenberch is doing the carrying, so Trent doesn't really need to do that, and he can stay in a more traditional number 6 role, just kind of hang out back.
But then you're going to have to drop either Maka or Soboslai, and both of them have been
That's the
playing
problem. It would have to
ridiculous.
be
And that's what
Soboslai, wouldn't it? It'd have to
it
be
almost
Soboslai.
feels like. I'm really, really interested to see how the systems run different with like Elliott and Curtis Jones when we start playing more games. Like probably the EFL game is when you're really going to see that first, like different change in lineup, because my guess is that after international break you're going to see the same 11 just like he did for the first 3 games, but same guys over and over and over again. Um, I
It's working. So
also
why are you
just
upset about that?
uh, I don't. I think that's always been something that I like, is the consistency, knowing the same guys that are coming in, but it just feels like we have such a deep squad, and it's going to upset some people in the squad to not get the play
I mean,
time. It's like,
tell him
you
just
saw
play
such a great
better.
summer by Cody Gakpo, and then he's barely got in the field, like, and rightfully so. Like, Diaz has played insane, so it's like I'm just worried about having discontent with some of those guys, but it could just be they're all trying to just make the team better and no one cares. But I think when you
I
start to see
mean,
that change up, I'm not really complaining about it,
it's
because I like the way that we've been
no,
setting up.
I get it. I feel the same way to an extent sometimes, but my problem more so is we'll go out there and lose 3-0, and I come back the next week with the same fucking lineup, and I'm like, what? Why is that? Why are you doing that? That's not a good idea. We know that's not a good idea. We looked like shit last week. You bring out the same guys, expect them to do something different. They're not going to do something different. So it is what it is. But what else? What else is going on? I saw Destiny Udogie, shout out Destiny, got in like the 78th minute, I want to say, of the Italy senior team game yesterday, and got a nice little cheeky assist. So he's coming up in the world. I love that man more than I love my own children that I don't have.
Did you? They've been posting a bunch of videos of Federico Chiesa talking about Italians too. There you go. Federico Chiesa stayed back. He didn't get called up with Italy, and he's training with the U21s, and it
I bet that's going really
legitimately,
well.
dude, it looked like a man amongst boys. He was literally like curving shots in. These U21 goalkeepers are like diving. He's like driving down the end line and then curving it in. I'm like, God, why are they putting
It
this
is
grown ass
a
man up
man
again?
amongst boys. Like it
It was,
is
I mean,
literally.
quite literally. There was
Yeah,
they had
it's funny.
the Chelsea player that we just stole from their academy. His name's Rio. Rio something. I'm just going to call him Rio from here on out because I'm not even going to attempt his last name. But he he trained with Chiesa like the first time, and they were like dapping each other up, and then like the two of them were equally dominating, and I was like, okay, this Rio kid's like 16 or something like that. And he's out there dominating on the same level as Chiesa. It was
That's crazy.
interesting week in general of the off week, just seeing everyone either
So
out doing things with their national
is
teams.
Chelsea's farm system going to be everybody's farm system? I think it would be so
Well,
fucking funny, Jake.
they have
It would be
150
so
players.
I know, but that's what I think. I think it'd be so fucking funny if everybody else just starts picking off their youth teams because they almost like that's almost guaranteed to happen at this point. They have way too many people. But if we just start picking all the good players and leave them with the shit players, so it'd be just, I'd laugh. That'd be really funny.
Ugh, I
What
don't
else is
know how they're
going
keeping
on?
these guys.
I honestly don't either. I know they found a loophole in FFP rules and were able to sell the hotel, which basically wiped out all of their debts. But I still do. That's bullshit that you could fucking do that for starters, because it's not. It's loosely football related, but we all know what these rules are supposed to be for. It's supposed to be for buying and selling players with the revenue that you generate directly related to football, and that's not how it's working. They exploited that loophole, and all of a sudden they're like, let's go spend double what we spent last summer, and nothing's going to come of it.
It feels
all day. I hate them.
It feels like a lot of these teams are just like stretching these financial fair play rules when if you were just doing the right thing, you could easily comply with everything that they're asking. That's been like my full understanding is like it's supposed to kind of work like a salary cap, and they're treating it like, oh, we'll move this money around, and then we'll have more money to spend. It's like, how about you just follow the rules, man? Like,
nah, following
doesn't
the
seem
rules
that
is for
hard.
losers.
I guess. I mean, everyone wants to stretch the rules on what they can do, but
Did you see
it's not
115
working
charge
for
FC?
Chelsea. I can tell you that. You said what?
Yeah, 115 charge FC. Their court case starts in October. I think they just announced I think it might have been last week. Honestly, I can't remember. I've read about it recently, but I was like, ooh, it's not going to get solved until.
Nothing's gonna come of it, dude. I'm just
I
you
know.
can
I know
just
nothing's
tell
going to come of
they're
it.
not gonna do anything.
Or if something does come of it, it'll be it's definitely not happening this season. So it'll be, if anything happens at the earliest, it'll probably be next off season. And I mean, if City win the whole thing, which they are looking absolutely fucking dominant, I don't see. I don't see why Pep would want to stick around at that point. I don't see. I mean, KDB, I don't really know, to be honest. Holland, I don't think Holland's going to go anywhere this summer, but I just think the main thing is Pep. I don't think that, what does he have to gain anymore? Like, one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach to ever, lace him up. So
He's still got
it's just
time,
gonna be,
dude. He's still so young. It's really if he
but
just
I mean,
wants a new
Jurgen's
challenge
pretty
is going to be
young.
the thing.
How old is Jurgen compared to? Not compared to.
He's in his 50s, I'm pretty sure. I think both of them are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pep is. mm, Pep is 53. That was going to be my guess.
This man's got the
And
shiniest head I've
Klopp
ever seen in my entire
is.
life. 53, that's a lot older than I was kind of expecting him to be honest.
Klopp is 57.
Okay, so he's
It's
when you
not
get
too
up in
much
those
of a difference,
ages,
but
there's
it,
enough.
it might be a similar thing, though. It just really kind of matters how long Pep wants to do this, because I truly think like the reason why Jurgen stepped down was because of ownership. Like I will go to my grave with that thought process that he was sick and tired of not being backed by the owners. He was sick and tired of not having the help that he needed there. And I think he didn't want to have to go through another rebuild if these players leave because they're not making any headway on
Moves.
signing any of these guys back. So
Yeah, but he left
I mean,
before the transfer portal even opened.
yeah, but I don't think my guess is that he was looking at what's happened the last few years and been like, we're getting no backing here, and once
I
again, no
think
changes are going to happen.
I
And then
think while I understand what you're saying and I agree, I know somebody who knows somebody else who said that not Pep, Jurgen left because he was tired of coming to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club Stadium, and he was tired of being embarrassed by Spurs, and that
You mean the
he
game that
just
you
couldn't do it
guys
anymore.
cheated?
We
That we
did
had a
not
clear,
cheat. How?
we had
What?
a
How?
clear offsides goal that got called back. Cody, you guys have
What?
what's coming for you too. Don't worry. Don't you worry. You have what? What day is
What?
that?
How do you want me in Tottenham Hotspur to repent for
Day
that?
of reckoning, December 21st is all I'm saying. Day of
I want to
reckoning
make
for
your
you
ass
guys.
cry on Christmas, the middle of
I'm
Hanukkah.
gonna sit there.
Just
We're gonna sit there and watch that together. And every goal that Mo Salah scores, and then does the straight into your fucking fans is gonna be great for me to watch.
James Madison's gonna hit him with a real dart when he scores. So I hope you're ready.
James Madison can barely even throw a dart 5 feet from him right now. That
What
man
are you
looks like
talking about? James
ass.
Madison's
Looks like
been literally
he
like
looks like 2 cans of ass.
he been our best midfielder, which isn't saying a whole lot,
Yeah,
but
that's
he
what I was
has been our
gonna
best
say. Watch
midfielder.
what you say there. It's not saying
I
too
mean,
much after
this has
last
been
week.
fine. He obviously missed the first game because he decided he wanted to take drugs and not take drugs, huff gas. I don't know, but
Yes,
he decided
he
he
was
wanted to do
bomb.
balloons and post it on his story like a fucking idiot. Like, dude, you realize that other people can see this, and you probably shouldn't, as a professional, be posting you doing illicit substances in your story. But
Why
what a
not?
dummy! But he's looked fine. He could be better, but he's not much of an offensive guy, and his defense has been class. So he scored that banger of a goal. So I can't be too mad. I still think our best bet is to have Kulu up in the middle. We'll have Biss at 6. We'll have James, Madison, and Kulu as our 8 and 10 up right there. I just don't. I love Kulu. I think he's really important to the squad. I just don't think that I'd rather have him on the wing. And it's nice because we could bring on another midfielder and take off BJ or take off Richarlison doesn't really ever play on the wing, but we could do that. I just it's a lot more versatile of a space, but I just think he's too important to not have on the pitch. But I don't think he offers the same stuff that Brendan Johnson or Odebert does. So
I thought it
I
was
don't know
really
why.
interesting how you guys played like no striker and dominated the game the way that you guys did. It's like, having Kulu in the middle is like your main guy was kind of like he didn't play great. I feel like
Yeah,
that game, but I mean it was
Kulu's a dog
overall
though.
like
We had Sonny up front, but Sonny's just it's such a conundrum because as a dedicated Tottenham Hotspur supporter, I love Sonny with all of my life. He's probably my favorite player to ever play, and he's definitely one of the greatest to ever come through the club. And I don't want to be the one to say this, but he's getting old. Like, he's getting old. He can't. I don't think he can survive on the wing anymore. At least I didn't see anything against Leicester that proved otherwise. I didn't think that he looked good. I think last year, yes, he was supposed to be there, but I don't think he could do it anymore. So the only other place to play him would be up top. And obviously we got Slanky, who should hopefully be the guy there, but I don't really know what to do, because I feel like I don't want him on the wing. I just don't think he has the speed. He has the stamina, and he always will. But his forward passing has been kind of piss poor, and I've been a little disappointed. He looked great against Everton, and his pressing is always there. Like, there's the intangible stuff. He's always going to have that drive, the knack for goal. But there's just, I can't remember anything off the top of my head. But there's a few times this year I've been like, yeah, you can't not play Sonny, but also at the same time, I'd be okay if he got subbed off.
There's like so much of that with a player that you want to hold on to the moments and the player the way that they were, but you also have to know when it's like, maybe we need to do what's best for the team. But I don't think you're there yet with Son. I think he's still got some legs. He's still got the scoring ability, and I don't really know if you have a true replacement that's going to go in right now and start for him and play better than he is.
I don't think anybody's better than he is, but also I want just a general upgrade on him. And it's like tough, because it's nothing like, I don't really know how to put it into words, like what I'm trying to say. I guess it's he's there. I think you could make an argument that Odebert is the guy to play there. I obviously think the lineup's going to be Sonny on the left, Solanke up top, Odebert on the right, and that's how it should be. But
I feel like I haven't seen enough of the kid yet.
Odebert, honestly, he's young. I think he's 19, maybe 20. He's young. He's made some mistakes, but I think overall, a dribbly winger is who he needed for the past 2 years, and that's exactly what he is. So I love him. Love to have him on the team. He's only going to get better from here. I can't wait. Truthfully, he's a dog.
19.
Yeah, but he's good. And this is. I don't know what the club was thinking this transfer window, because we spent the third most money behind Chelsea, and no, I think we spent the second most, only behind Chelsea. Second or third, I don't remember off the top of my head. But we bought all of these players, but we literally bought all of these kids. Like, it's like a fucking daycare in there. Like, we bought Bergvall. We bought Bergvall last year technically, but he's 19. We bought Archie Gray, who's 18. We brought in Udogie, who's 21. Who else? Just Odebert. Yeah, we bought all of these like young kids, which is great, and I'm really excited for the future. But putting teenagers and people in their 20-year-olds out there on a pitch with all these grown ass men is not a recipe for success. And I get it. None of them. Odebert's the only one that's really starting, and I think he's probably the most game ready out of all of them. But what happens when we have an injury and Archie Gray needs to come in? And it's not me saying that I'm not excited for Archie Gray, because I am extremely excited for Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall for everything that they can become. But I don't think we did a very good job addressing the problems we have now. You know what I mean? We just spent
I
all this
think that
money on children.
the key to that is that you really need to hope that the team is backing Ange, because the moves are all moves that will affect Spurs for the next 3 or 4 years. And it's all about patience. And I feel like with what he's done already, he's shown enough that you need to just trust the guy, that he's building the right team, getting the right players. I don't know how much say
I
he
mean,
has
I
over
get it.
everything of what they bring in, but it's just,
Right, right.
bringing those guys in, or those are players that are going to develop the more that they get game time, the more games that they're in and playing in. Like, those guys will end up being great players, and you guys had a decent lineup. So it's just all about like building with youth and hoping that the mentorship turns these guys into world class, which, that's kind of, there's levels, I think, to the league. And like Liverpool has, I feel like my team doesn't have to accept that. We could get these players outright just based on aura, stadium, money, stuff like that. We have the stuff to do it. They just don't do it. And I think that, there's only certain teams. There's United, there's Arsenal, there's City, at least in the Prem, that are just those teams that can, Chelsea, that will just buy players at the top rating. A lot of us have to build and grow guys from within.
Right. And I
And
get that. And it's just, I wouldn't have mind if we got these players and then we brought in a big name who can start in our lineup right now. I just want to go out and get players who can challenge for starting positions at this very moment. And I don't think that at least Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall can do that. I don't think there's any way that if we have a fit James Madison and a fit Rodrigo Bentancur, that there's any way Archie Gray is making that starting lineup. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I just
I
don't
agree with
think
you.
it's nice time, but also, like I said, I'm really excited for the future. And another thing, like you were talking about, trusting in Ange and building with him. I love that. I love Ange. I hope that he sticks around the club for the rest of the time that he decides he wants to coach. But at the same time, if you look at his record, like the longest amount of time he stayed at one place has been like 3 or 4 years. I think. It's definitely not more than 4. But I think it's 3 years is the longest he's ever stayed at one job, and we're in the middle of year 2, so that means if he sticks to the same trajectory, next year is his last year with us, and they're going to be still under 20. So
The only question
I
is
just
is
don't
really
see
like,
it. I don't see it.
where's he gonna jump to? Because I mean, like, I know you and I talked about it a lot when he got hired, but like, he grew up a Liverpool fan. It doesn't look like that job's opening up anytime soon, at least
Well, yeah,
from what we're
but
seeing. So I mean, it's just, I feel like he's at his level, he's at his peak. Like, Tottenham is a place where he can grow. So I wouldn't really be thinking, oh, he's only stayed 4 years at a job. He's stayed 4 years at smaller clubs. He's not, I don't think he's jumping ship to move to, an equal level. If he's leaving, it's because Tottenham fire him. I would think, at least. I don't think
yeah.
Barcelona or Bayern or Real Madrid are going to be knocking at the door of Ange Postecoglou anytime soon, looking for him to take over their coaching position. So I'm like,
There's a whole thing going on Twitter right now where, and I know it's all jokes, but I think that they're kind of being serious. But it's all like these Premier League clubs, like these fans of these other Premier League clubs. It's like, I love Sean Dyche, but if he gets fired, this is who I want as his replacement, and it's just Ange Postecoglou, and every supporters from every club is just quoting it and saying the same thing. I think that if he does leave, he's going to get interest from other clubs. I agree with you. I don't know if it's going to be a Liverpool or another big six necessarily. Chelsea will take him in a heartbeat because they're desperate. But, I mean, I don't think I'm not going to say he's not a better manager, but I don't see any reason why Arsenal would get rid of Arteta. I don't see any reason why Man City will get rid of Pep. I don't see any reason why, and it's very new in his tenure, but that Arnie would, they choose Postecoglou over Arnie. That wouldn't make much sense. So
yeah. It just doesn't. It seems like he's at his level. So I think you just got to give the man time. I think by year 3 or 4, you're gonna see competing at the highest level. But I mean, with the team that they have, they can compete now. It's just all about putting it on the field when the time comes. Because you and I both watched that game together. They had control of that entire game. They probably should have won it.
Tough.
Had so many opportunities and still couldn't. And that doesn't really come down to Ange. I mean,
no, it's
in
not.
my opinion, at least, it's not Ange.
There
it's
are
the
some
players.
times where I blame him, and I blame him mainly for. And it's the same thing like we were talking about earlier, like using the same people over and over again, and not understanding. Like, if I have to see fucking Timo Werner on the pitch again, I will throw my phone through the fucking television. I hate that man with all of my heart. He's useless. I want him off of my squad. He can provide pace. That's literally it. He has zero goal sense, and his passing last year was decent. This year has just been abysmal. But just using Timo Werner and not. Brendan Johnson's been sprinting his fucking ass off for 75 minutes. Clearly is dead. We have the subs, and he just doesn't take them off. Just stuff like that, more so than anything. But either way, we have not gone over a single thing that we've had prepared for today.
It's all good. This week is all about us talking, and we're already planning on this being kind of a laid back episode.
I do want to go through winners and losers, at least.
All
right. So we prepared a little segment called "Winners and Losers of the First 3 Weeks." This is by far the most important stat that you will ever hear in the Premier League. We spend a lot of time doing this. These are legit. These are the two people that are challenging for the title and that will win. So, two winners, two losers. First winner, take a guess. Manchester City, of course.
It's been dominating performance after dominating performance, right when we think that they're
close,
slowing down.
We talked about it in our apology last week and a little bit when we talked about the game, but Super Holland with 7 goals in 3 matches, absolutely absurd. They're averaging 3 goals per game right now, while only letting in 0.7, which isn't like crazy, I feel like, but also if you look at everybody else's goals allowed or average goals allowed versus average goals conceded, it's nowhere close. Liverpool's close. I'll give that
except for one team, yeah. Because I was going to say, except for one team.
Yeah, Liverpool's the only other close one. But they are Liverpool also. Liverpool and City right now are tied 7.1 XG. And the reason that I have City first is because they are still without their best player from last season in Phil Foden. So that's insane.
Yeah, I would agree that City's at a level that's above everyone else. But as a fan of Liverpool, it's just you can't help but be excited what you're seeing already. I think that we were content with competing this year for top 4, but I don't think anyone thought that we'd be able to challenge. And the way that this team is playing, I think we can challenge. But I mean, if you look at what City's doing, like you said, without Foden, it seems like they put in different players and the level doesn't change. It's still an expectation. I'm not really seeing holes in the roster anymore. I felt like last year that was a big thing. I felt like City was really kind of right to for the taking there to take over their kingdom. But the last year, the strengthening that they did, I think like really the signing of the entire off season for them is going to come down to bringing back Gundogan, because like that dude is just he
He's
makes
tough.
plays when he's not supposed to, and he's a dog. He's got the dog in him, and he understands Pep's system so well that it's just
I mean, he
it
only
puts
played
them on a
with him for
different
what,
level when he's
5
there.
years. Yeah, agreed. Um, Speaking of number 2, without any further ado, I have Liverpool. King Mo Salah playing like he wants a contract more than Sahara Desert needs water. Dude's got 3 assists, 3 goals in the first 3 games, which is, in my opinion, equally as impressive as Haaland.
And I
King
know
Mo
you and I
Salah
talked about this
forever.
right after the game, talking about Mo is like that. A lot of those post match interviews that he did,
Mm-hmm.
initially I'm like, oh, that does not sound good. Like it sounds like he wants out. Like to me, the more I'm reading it, I feel like he's begging them to re-sign him. Like
Oh
I think
yeah,
he does want to come back. It's not that he's done. It's not that he's saying like, oh, I don't want any part of Liverpool anymore. Like I think that's what a lot of people took it as when he first said it, but I think he wants movement. I think all these guys do. Virgil's basically echoing the same thing. Like I'm focusing on the year. I'm trying to win as much games as I can. I don't know what the future is going to bring or what's going to happen, but I'm like, it, they need to do right by these guys. These guys have put so much time into the club.
100%. And that's what I was reading an article on FOTMUP yesterday about Mo and how because they were said they were going to open up contract talks with him after his comments, but he's just like, I don't want to leave. Like, I like the project. I've seen the project. I like how it's working so far. Like, I have a good feeling about this. And he, like you said, it was just trying to force their hand to kind of start the negotiation talks because he's scared that they weren't. But yeah, Liverpool at number 2. What was I gonna say? They have right, yeah. You guys are in a very similar. It is interesting to me to see you guys, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to say that I think Liverpool and Spurs are on the same wavelength right now because we're not. But it's interesting seeing how well you guys have looked in the first 3 games this season. And what you said, like you were just hoping to contend and have this be a middle of the road year type of thing. That's exactly how I was feeling last year in Ange's first year, and something similar kind of happened. We came out, we didn't lose for the first 10 games. We drew 2, won 8, and looking like, could we, like, could we win the title? Could we compete? Obviously, the answer to that was a resounding no, and it was 99% a joke. But do you feel like, are you worried about kind of this just being like a little honeymoon period where nobody knows what Slot's going to do yet, so they just can't pick it up?
What I'm liking seeing so far is that, you saw everyone made a big deal about how Trent reacted to being taken off in that first game. And I feel like Slot understands that what's happened in the past is that we start off strong, and then by middle of the season we don't have the squad depth and we don't have the numbers, and our guys start falling off. We start getting injuries. We have slumps in games. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Liverpool's going to dominate every single game that we play all year. There's going to be bumps in the road throughout the entire season of like, oh, that's one that we should have had, or we didn't play well enough there. But I think that the way he's managing the squad right now is going to keep the guys healthy throughout the year. And it's just, are we going to come out of those slumps stronger? Are those guys going to come back? Are we going to have, the injury plagues that always happen? Or is it going to be
Mm-hmm.
different this year with the way that he's running things? And, I have faith. I have faith right now. And that's all you really can have. Just
Yeah,
trust the
absolutely.
guy, what he's put on tape so far, what he's done. I think that I like the decisions that he's made. His subs have been brilliant so far for us, and It's just about doing it all year.
It's always the thing. You can't drop many points nowadays. So, got to take them all. But Liverpool are the only team left in the Premier League that have yet to give up a goal, which is impressive. I know I gave you shit. You texted me the other day saying the only team left that hasn't given up a goal, and I was like, yeah, okay, against Man U, Brentford, and Ipswich. Like, relax, kid. But no, it's impressive at the end of the day. I mean,
the tests are
left to do
coming.
it. 100%. I mean, then that's how it works. You got to pay everybody twice. So you're gonna go up against City. You're gonna go up against some good teams, and how are you gonna fight back? Who you guys got next week? I forget.
Next week, I believe, is Nottingham Forest. Yes, Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham. Little Nottingham.
Little 10 a.m. kickoff on Saturday there.
You guys didn't get the first slot after.
No, that is
break.
That one was given to the snoozer of the week, the 0-0 draw of Southampton and Manchester United.
I won't be getting up early for that one.
Yeah, I have a feeling
United will win 2-0. I promise you that. But all right, on to the losers. I just put a little note that just says LOL because it's hilarious that both of these teams are the losers, but they are by far. Honorable mention to Southampton, but nobody expected them to do anything anyways, so I didn't put them on the list.
But they've been expected losers.
Yeah. We have the second loser, Man United, currently sitting on 14th. They have 1 win, 2 losses. Week 1 win against Fulham came when Xerxes came off the bench in like the fucking 88th minute. It's come save them against Fulham. So call it what you will. It was not a very impressive win in my eyes. They lost against Brighton and Liverpool. I've only scored 2 goals the whole season. Well, I guess it's only 3 games, but they've only scored 2 goals. Got blanked against you, scored once against Brighton, and scored the winner in Fulham. So not so great. You look at their 2 goals and compare that to their 5.2 xG. Stats are telling me that they are not performing very well. So on the bright side, they have. So go ahead. My bad.
I think for them, they brought in Xerxes and he's looked great for some games.
Yeah.
I would say he looked pretty good against Brighton. I liked what I saw against Brighton for him.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, he had that game winner in the first one, but then you put him up and the way that they tried to play against Liverpool, they put him on an island so much against Van Dijk and Konate, and he looked weak. He just couldn't.
You can't put somebody on an island versus
them.
Virgil van Dijk.
He tried to outmuscle 2 of the strongest players in our entire lineup, and it just didn't work out for him the entire game. So I mean, I just think it's really striker play, which is what I think always comes down to with United. If they have a good striker, they're competing in the top league, and if they don't, they suck. And
I don't think their defense is that great either. In my opinion, their defense has been the most embarrassing part of all
this. It's been abysmal.
Offense has been great, but
there's a lot of I think they've fallen asleep a lot in the box. Crosses have been their worst nightmare. The amount of free people that you're seeing on back post in this, Mo said after the game, we could have had 5 or 6. And I think you look at the amount of missed opportunities that we have, it's pretty obvious that all of those were back post crosses pretty much the entire time. And they lose people.
Pedro's game winner in week 2.
They're not making, they have a lot of XG, but they're also just not really scoring anything. It's just, I think it comes down to it that finishing, striking, that goal scoring ability, and then losing people on the back post. And, it kind of bridges into Ten Hag too, because, I mean, that guy, I don't know how he kept his job. I don't know what blackmail he has on the owners there that he's
Yeah,
remained in that position, but he's proven time and time again that his teams that he's building, the stuff he's trying to make happen, are just not working. And
it's not. It's so. I don't get it either, but they have some very winnable games. The next two games coming against Southampton, Crystal Palace should be both victories. If not, I, I'd be curious what's going to happen because then they follow that up coming to Spurs, or I think we go there. Um, so I think they need 6 points from these next 2 weeks. I don't think he's getting fired until Christmas, but I think his seat's going to be red hot if they don't take 6 points in the next 2 weeks.
yeah, it's looking
Brings
trouble.
us to our last person. I know you're going to take a lot of pride in saying this is the ultimate loser so far through 3 game weeks. So this one's on you.
Yeah, the biggest loser of the entire season and earliest relegation candidate that I put out, and Cody laughed at it first and said that I was a hater, but
You
it's
are still a
Everton.
hater.
They are they yeah, I think that you just look at the team and you're looking at a team that's just defeated already.
Dude, the
If you
vibes not there.
it, blowing that lead and letting them come back as late as they did is just a microcosm of their season. And that's what I feel like is going to happen the entire time. They're going to play half decent and they're going to either lose or draw all the games that they should definitely be winning. And it's just going to come down to that all year. And it's defense, like we said, a bunch, and maybe it's, I think it's injuries. Branthwaite still isn't in there, I believe.
Yeah.
I think they're dealing with some structural problems that just comes down to their coach. I'm not a fan of him at all. I don't think he's
Let's
very
look at the
good.
facts. Week 1, they lost. They lost 3-0. Week 1. Week 2, they lost 4-0. 0 goals, losing by a combined 7-0 in the first 2 game weeks. Come out week 3 against a definitely lesser opponent. And I guess I wouldn't call Fulham a lesser opponent, but they could beat Fulham. It's a winnable game for sure, especially at home. You go up 2-0. You're in the 87th minute.
You're saying Bournemouth, right?
Or yeah, I'm sorry. That's
Yeah, the
not.
Bournemouth
That's what I
game.
meant. But either way, Bournemouth just lost their best player. You're up 2-0 in the 87th minute, thinking, all right, cool, we're taking 3 points at home again in a game that we should probably be winning, and you let up 3 goals. I think, how do you come back from that mentally, not scoring a goal and losing by a combined 7 goals over the first 2 game weeks, and then imploding like you did last week against Bournemouth? I don't see how you come back from that.
And then
It's
you come back
gonna be
out
tough.
this next week. First game out, I believe, is against Villa. Yeah, they play Villa this weekend. So I'm not seeing much of a change going to happen there. I think it's going to be
No,
just as bad.
it's gonna be
And then,
0-4.
I just think that the lineup that they're putting out there is not giving the effort that they need every week, and it's just translating on the field. And it I think it's just vibes. You can just tell this team is the biggest loser by the way that they're playing. Um, I am smiling while I say it. It is definitely hilarious. It is a
It is.
hilarious situation.
Yeah. I'm not a Liverpool supporter. However, I do support them by default because you do. So, hate to see it, love to see it. That's all we got for this week, boys and girls. Thank you so much. Don't forget to give us a rating. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your mom's grandma. Tell your boyfriend's grandma. Um, listen to For the Shirt every Sunday. We love you.
We'll always be here.
For the Shirt forever. All right. I'll catch you later, mate.
All right, dude. See you.
See you.